Hi, Sam here from Roberts Geospatial Engineering. Let's take a look at ProRaster Premium version 1.0.06. So in this version, I've made it a bit easier to access web maps. So web maps are what I call a WMS layer, or a WMTS, or a TMS, or WCS, all those kinds of web mapping services. So you see there's this new option on the Open button, new algorithm for web map, and in here there's a structured menu which has folders, and in those folders there are different XML files, and each one of these XML files is a web map, points to some server, has the information required. You open one of these files and it will create a new algorithm for you and display that web map. Now that folder structure that you can see on the screen reflects the folder structure on disk. So if you go to your C drive, Program Data Directory, RGE, which stands for Roberts Geospatial Engineering, you'll find there's a directory called Web Maps. And this is where I ship the XML files that you can load into ProRaster to access WMS servers and so forth. So I've changed the structure of this directory in version 1.0.06 and added a few files. Now, when you run ProRaster, it installs all of its files into this directory. So if you want to clean out all of the old files and get a clean installation, then what you can do is just go in and delete this web maps directory. Just delete it, and then the next time you run ProRaster, it will be replaced and it will be clean with only the files that I ship. The reason that I don't delete it myself is because you can add your own files into this, and so I don't want to destroy those. So if you have added your own files in, then you need to keep a copy of them somewhere so you don't lose them if you go around deleting this directory. So let's come back to ProRaster. So as I said, on the Open button you have this new option for opening web maps, and there's the folder structure reflected in that menu selection. Now I just want to take you onto the image component property page. So in this case we just have an image, it's image field type. You can see there's this new property called adjust resolution, and this appears in the component page for all rasters, but it's designed specifically for web maps. The reason it's here is because ProRaster loads data at the best possible resolution for your screen or higher. And with things like Google Maps and OpenStreetMaps, they're actually designed to be loaded one level of resolution lower. And so when you load them into ProRaster, you'll find that the labels are quite small and often they're unreadable, even though the detail will all be there and will be quite nice. But what you can do is you can adjust the resolution that we're loading that data from off the web, tick it up by one level of resolution. You can see that the thing just changed, and that will make it more like what you'd see if you loaded that WMS layer in a browser. The labels would be the sort of size that you can read on screen. Also, because you're loading 4 times less data, you'll find that it's faster, although this particular server is not very fast. So in addition to that new option on the Open menu button, we've got some new options on the Add Layer button. So, oops, I'll just delete these, I didn't want those there. So I've got an algorithm here, and if I drop down the Add Layer button, you can see here's the original options to add a lookup table or red, green, blue, or an image layer. But in addition, there's now 3 other options, and these will all create a default layer of some type depending on the raster or raster source or the web map that you point the system to. So you can add a new layer for a raster, and that'll take you to a browse dialog. You can browse for a raster. You can add a new layer for a raster source. It takes you to the raster source selection dialog. Or you can add a new layer for a web map, For example, Bing Maps imagery, and that will then be added as a new layer into your existing algorithm. And finally, if you drag and drop a file onto ProRaster, so in the past this would automatically create a new algorithm from that file. You now have the option to either create the new algorithm by hitting yes, or to add a new default layer for that file in the existing algorithm. So there you can see we've got the OpenStreetMaps on top. Those new layers always go in at the top of the tree so that they appear on top of everything else that's being rendered. So they're the changes in version 1.0.06.